don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Have a passion for the outdoors? Nebraska Game and Parks is seeking seasonal teammates. Work in scenic state parks, contribute to vital research projects, and care for our natural spaces. Seasonal staff assist with special events, provide customer service to outdoor enthusiasts, and make a difference for conservation. Join the adventure at outdoornebraska.gov. Apply online today.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome into The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticker Weekends. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, back on the Sunday slate. If you hear a little bit of the nose, we're still working out the rest of it, but we got Haas Tabrizi, the host as always. DP up in the air. As you can imagine, busy man. Just got done calling the Supernovas. They are the 2024 Pro Volleyball Federation champions. Very exciting, and now he's up and heading down towards DC. So DP, guy's always working. Hopefully, I think this time it might actually be a break, which is a good thing because that guy definitely needs it. But nonetheless, we still got Haas, the host as always. How's it going on this Sunday, man?
Good, man. It's Championship Sunday here in AAU basketball, and it's always nice to hold up trophies. So it's a good day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did you happen to catch the pro volleyball? It was on CBS, I believe, so I'm not sure if everybody was able to watch it, but it was awesome. I mean, it was 10K, it was loud, and I thought the trophy was nice. I was kind of curious to what the trophy was going to look like. Looks even better down in Omaha. But man, just an awesome atmosphere. Jason Derulo was there, Dylan Rayola. There were celebrities there. I mean, it was really cool to see that place light up for that atmosphere.
The aesthetics of it was really nice. It looked like a event at Vegas.
Yeah.
Hearing DP's call for the video that was there, you guys gotta maybe put a link up for the video that went around from the Supernovas, where DP is talking about the best server in all of the Federation of Women's Volleyball is up to serve 14-10, and then the call that he makes, I can't emulate what he said. So he was really good, and the play was even better. So kudos to the Supernovas.
Yeah, shout out to them. The Omaha Supernovas threw that one together, and it was nice. It's like, oh, they got DP's radio call on here, and we started the pregame show with that video because obviously radio network of the Omaha Supernovas don't got to worry about the rights so much, but we gave them credit, and DP, as soon as he saw that, he's like, oh, that's our pregame intro right there. That's awesome. Really well done by their production team, and I will say working with the Omaha Supernovas in a remote way, Rico, Renee Saunders, DP, more up close and personal. It's been awesome. The Omaha Supernovas, they did it right. You could see it by the venue. That's why they got to host it, because they were doing it right. They brought in the fans, the production. I think, could be wrong in this, but I believe we were the only radio station for any of the pro volleyball teams, the only affiliate radio station. Hence, the Pro Volleyball Federation allows us to call the whole playoffs with the Atlanta vibe. But it was awesome working with those guys, and it definitely set the stage for next year and years going ahead. And we've seen the level of competition that's there. This is gonna be fun volleyball.
Yeah, definitely. Love what they're doing for women's sports, the example that they're setting, and the role models that they are. And it's just, there's so much going on with the women's volleyball at Nebraska. I mean, it was a tough loss at the end, losing to Jermaine O'Neal's daughter. But was it 92,000 fans earlier this year? So there's so much going on in the sport of women's volleyball. And I'm talking to parents right now in the AAU circuit, and they're like, we like volleyball more because the AAU circuit for women's basketball, it's football. It's and I am teaching in my practices. There's drills where we put two hands on each other and we're working on swim moves. And this is what you do when someone has their arm on you. You literally rip it off. And it's football for basketball. And so to have the athletes go and play volleyball. I mean, there's athletes playing tennis that people are like, Nadal is a pretty good athlete. Djokovic is a pretty good athlete. Serena would have been an amazing soccer player, basketball player, whatever sport she wanted.
She could play running back probably if she wanted to. I mean, she's an incredible athlete. She could do just about anything.
So being an athlete and invading other sports is pretty cool, because these volleyball players easily could have been stud basketball players with their verticals and their coordination.
Yeah, and that's the part that's cool, is I think it's just giving more and more avenues for women to see those pro athletes. Like, okay, there is a path to do this, and you, especially kind of like a game like volleyball, it's a little bit like football where you can see all sorts of shapes and sizes out there on the court making it work, and everyone's kind of got their niche role, something they really excel at, something they add to the team that's different than everybody else. And that's why I think volleyball is so fun, because like every girl can like kind of see like, okay, what can I do to really fit in that role? It's tougher, I feel like, with basketball, you get to the WNBA, and just even the NBA, you really need height. It's very important, unless you're Caitlin Clark with great shooting. We haven't talked about it yet, but we might dive into it. Even then, it's still tough. I'm not writing Caitlin Clark off, but it's incredibly tough when you don't have that height. Volleyball is a little bit different, where you can find a lot of ways to make a great impact on your team. And shout out Sydney Hilly, the championship MVP, on the bench at the beginning of the year, kind of just on and off. And then sure enough, in the biggest, most important year of the Pro Volleyball Federation, she ends up being the MVP, and just gives all the credit to her teammates. Because, if the setter's the MVP, that means everybody else must have been killing it. So again, it's just awesome. And it is cool to see this growth. And I don't expect it to stop anytime soon, as these young athletes see more and more ways to be pro, be that high level athlete. Because if you're a volleyball player around Nebraska and you're really good, you're almost a celebrity at this point. There's so much respect for women volleyball players here, and people now recognize, oh, there's the Omaha Supernovas. There's no question when they see the colors, the shirts, and it's really cool. Especially, when you're looking at some of them, they just look like great athletes, sitting there towering over you. But it's just been a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to see where this thing continues to go.
You brought up Caitlin Clark. It's not Caitlin Clark's fault. It's her team. Yeah. And so her team is so weak. People have to realize they were 13-27 the year before. Mm-hmm. They were number one pick for a reason. So is Wemby a bad basketball player? Their team is losing so much. Is Wemby a bad player?
Yeah, but he's got good stats. It's a small. I'm not down on Caitlin Clark. I'm going to steel arm it just for the sake of the argument. But Wemby's got stats. That's the difference. They're losing, but he's still obviously everything was supposed to be. He's pretty much there. Like, he's been just a freak on defense, the block numbers, the points. Yeah, it's a bad Spurs team, but he's having good games. So I don't think anybody's like, we were wrong about him. Caitlin Clark, the preseason game, good. I will say though, she's got some times where I'm like, that is not a turnover. Catch the ball. That happens a lot to her. I've noticed she's been racking up turnovers, and a lot of these times I'm like, that is just where the teammate, like you said, is just the roster construction. They got the number one pick for a reason, but yeah, I'm not willing to say it's the same thing as Victor Wembanyama, because he immediately put up numbers.
All right, hold on a second. So, sorry, internet, radio.
No, you're all good. And if you guys ever want to join in, I'll fill the gap here. 402-464-5685. Feel free to do so. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Aldo Channel 961. We're having Facebook problems. So again, for anybody out there watching the streams, if you're used to watching us on Facebook, we're going to see if we can kind of get them up later in the day. But as of right now, streaming the actual live show to Facebook has been problematic. So again, we should have it fixed, everything by tomorrow, for all those early breakers that love to watch on Facebook. If you wish to do that, by tomorrow, which would be May 20th, we should be able to stream live on Facebook. But as of right now, we're still having some issues with it. And again, as Haas is getting that info ready, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. Yeah, go for it.
So Wemby, first 4 games. Ready?
Yep.
All right. He had an average of 16 points, 7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 2.3 blocks, 1.5 steals, and 4.8 turnovers. First 4 games.
How many minutes? Probably 35, 36. Because Pop was pulling him back a little bit, wasn't he? If I remember correctly, or was he just letting him go?
I let that go. I didn't take a picture of the minutes. Caitlin Clark, 32% from the 3, so that's not like her. Let's see. Hold on one sec. My bad.
No, you're good. 32% isn't even atrocious. And again, super small sample size.
17 points a game.
Not bad.
5.7 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 1 steal, 0.3 blocks, 7 turnovers. So 2 turnovers more. Close on. She's scoring more than him.
You're swinging me right now. You're making a hell of a case. Her numbers aren't that. It's the turnovers, but I kind of already steel-armed my own conversation. I think a lot of the turnovers, not all on her teammates. She's definitely had some bad ones, but catch the damn ball. There's been some where, there was one, it was literally a fast break right on her hip. You just got to catch it, and instead just fumbles it somehow, and it's another turnover on what so far has been Caitlin Clark's career high in a single game for turnovers.
They've also played 2 good teams so far. So New York twice and the Sun. So it's not like they've been playing flukes. Now the WNBA with 12 teams, like you're they have to play the Sparks or someone else to get an easier game. What's going to happen is if the team isn't better, they'll be the number one pick again. And then does Paige Beckers goes there, and does that make Caitlin Clark have a point guard and allow her to be more of a shooting guard? I don't know. Then you have two small guards, but then you have two of the best recruits ever in college in the last 10 years. I don't know. Are they as good as Plum and Ionescu and most of the aces? No, they aren't right now. No, there just can't be. The time that those women have spent in the gym to become that much stronger, that much quicker, that much faster. The difference is the defense is that much better on Caitlin Clark. So it's let's say it this way: it's like a first team versus second team. So in an AAU basketball game, when the second team comes in, it's easy to score. When the first team is in, it's a little harder to score. Well, Caitlin Clark was playing against second team players last year. Now she's playing against first team best defenders, all focus on her. I know all the focus was on her, but they just couldn't move as fast. They weren't as strong and they weren't as long. So it was a lot easier. It'll get better.
Yeah, I think it will too. I think she kind of reminds me of like Lonzo Ball. Remember when Lonzo Ball got into the NBA? Again, Lonzo Ball, he was incredibly exciting, but I think even at the college level, you could see, I mean, it was close. I mean, Magic Johnson saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Caitlin Clark, clearly, she looks like she has that in her case, but those two players get massive targets on their back. And I'll never forget, I think it was game 1 or game 2 for the Lakers. Lonzo Ball's bringing it down the court, and Patrick Beverly just hits him with a pretty dirty foul, trying to send a message. And he wasn't the only one. There's a lot of moments like that. A lot of people, big target on Lonzo Ball's back. How can we make this guy look terrible? Because he's the only one everybody wants to talk about, and he's not that good. Caitlin Clark, I feel like, is going through that right now. Everyone's like, how can we make this girl look horrible? Because all of a sudden, everybody cares about basketball. We've been here the whole time balling out. So, again, I don't think it's like a hatred thing, but it's definitely like you think Caitlin Clark's good, well, you haven't seen the rest of us yet. And I think that's a real thing going on. I mean, how long do you think it takes before we see Caitlin Clark really coming into her own, the pro version? Is it a season away? Is it 2 seasons away? Because I'm thinking just with the WNBA, and if I'm just going to be honest, this is probably the most WNBA I've watched in a long time. Since the season started, I've been really fully engaged, watching quarter to quarter. You're not wrong about that size and strength. Like that looks like it takes a couple of years to get to that physicality to where you can compete with, you get to WNBA, you're going to see someone who's 6'7", 6'8" in there. Like it's a whole new level.
So when you watch the games, okay, so Denver, Minnesota. Denver has the best player, then Minnesota has the second best player. Denver has the third best player, then Minnesota has the next 2. So there's a balance on the skills on both teams. That's why there's this game 7. When the Fever play other teams, the other team has the best player, second best player, then maybe it's Caitlin Clark, then the other team has the next best player, next best player, next best player, next best player. Like, how do you expect to compete with the other team having 5 of the 6 best players? You just can't. It's a team sport. Yeah. And so the way she played, she would draw all the double teams, triple teams, and her teammates would make open shots. They would catch it. Her posts would catch the ball and go score. So it's not a one-man team. So then, therefore, she's going to try to do harder things, which is going to make her turn the ball over more. So until they learn how to play together, and so my wife, who doesn't really watch the WNBA, was like, they're already playing. Wasn't the draft like a week ago? Like, shouldn't they get acclimated together? Shouldn't they practice together? So what's going on there? They barely got any time to prepare. Meanwhile, the NBA, the draft is going to be soon, and then they have like 4 months to get ready. The NFL draft was around the end of April, and then they have 5 months to get ready.
Not to mention all the girls playing overseas on their off time just to keep the money coming in.
So shame on the WNBA for giving them like a week to get ready and get acclimated together to a new player. So the WNBA is a lot more skilled and fundamental than the NBA. So they actually run plays and do things like that. So they need to get used to playing with each other, and there's no time to gel. So that the season will be the preseason. And then because the season's short anyway, it's 40 games.
Yeah.
So the 40 games will be the preseason, and then next year will be a normal team. And it might mean, hey, I'm sure the WNBA is rigged like the NBA. And so somehow the Fever are going to get a player or two that can actually play so that they're a better team, so that people actually want to watch the Fever instead of just for Caitlin Clark. So things like that will happen. It just takes a little bit of time. Just like Adam Silver goes and gives Denver 3 games in a row. If for those of you that didn't watch the Netflix documentary, I would do that for Tim Donaghy. Did you watch it?
No, when did it just come out?
I saw it recently. It's
no, I don't think I have.
So Tim Donaghy was the crooked ref in the NBA who
he put some bets down.
Yeah, he put some bets down, but he also allowed for bets to happen while he was reffing, and so he went to jail for a little bit. He's already out of jail because he was complicit, and
does he still deny it to this day? If I remember correctly, does he deny that he's like, no, I didn't do it, or does he just fully confessed?
He was complicit, but the documentary talked about his friends.
Yeah.
Do you want to know who's one of his best friends is as a ref? Just take a wild guess.
Foster? Is it Scott Foster?
Scott Foster.
Oh,
Scott Foster.
Chris Paul was on to something. Chris Paul wasn't lying. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it must be a duck. And if Scott Foster's name is coming up so much in that Netflix documentary, whoo! And Scott Foster is officiating Game 3 of Minnesota-Denver. Woo! Ooh! And I think he officiated Game 5. Ooh, man!
Yeah, and you look at Game 3. There's definitely some pivotal moments where Jokic was getting some beneficiary calls, or Cat and Gobert were struggling. We've been on this cycle forever when it comes to the NBA, and the older I get, the worse it becomes because the more real it is. Because I always knew that with Donaghy, but the Scott Foster being in the mix too. Now it's just like, oh, okay, we're not even out of it. It's still probably going on right in front of our eyes. It sucks. I mean, you got to win by, if you're a team and you just want to do it legit, if you think if it's like trying to force it to a Game 7, you almost got to win by 30. Just knowing 45. That if you win by 30, you're actually going to have like a 3-point win, and it's going to be a buzzer beater because the refs are just going to really try to force that thing out. I mean, does this thing ever fully hit the light? Haas, do you think we ever in the NBA ever get to terms where it's like we get a full document or something legitimate that said this ref bet this on this game and this has been going on for how long?
David Stern from the grave would not allow that to happen. Number one, no chance he would allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ridiculous. Like Ron Artest is a bigger menace than crooked referees. That is just some crap right there. And then on top of that, throwing a heat pack at people's feet is equal to a money sign taunt to the refs that wasn't even visible. It was just to himself. Seriously?
Yeah.
So the NBA did not want the series to be swept. They didn't want the series to be swept. Now they get their wish. Now they get 7 games. And I'm excited for today and watching Denver, Minnesota, and Indiana and New York. But soon the integrity of the NBA is going to be gone.
Well, you got to know. I mean, right now the NBA is sitting there like Boston, New York, those two teams right there. It's like those are their big market teams. They're looking at the West. They're like, oh, thank goodness at least the Mavericks won. The Thunder, I love them. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but excuse me, small market team. A lot of the teams in the playoffs this year were pretty small market teams. Denver, they're kind of there, but it's still pretty clear they still don't want Jokic as the face of the league. I mean, the guy's just the most dominant guy out there. 3 MVPs, 4 years, puts on a clinic every other night. And they're just like, oh, Anthony Edwards. How about this guy? I mean, I get it. He's great. But we've just been watching a guy dominate forever. So to me, it's just going to be interesting how the NBA really, when it comes down to that bottom dollar, when they start to lose their Lakers, their LeBron, then, it's like, okay, at least Boston's still in it and the Knicks. But otherwise, you were looking at the Pacers. You were looking at all these small markets, the Cavs, the Magic. It was not the biggest market type of playoffs. So I'm not surprised that we might see them try to squeak out an interesting Western and Eastern Conference Finals, especially if you got Boston and New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That sounds like Game 7, or at least attempt to push it that far, because that'd be your money right there.
Well, first and foremost, the Lakers will have a third player next year. So they will have a third player. Austin Reeves will be traded, unfortunately.
Well, is LeBron staying? I mean, that's the first. You're saying that LeBron's staying, then, is what you're saying.
He has to stay. There's nowhere for him to go. He wants his money. He loves his money.
You're not buying into the Cavaliers' appearance? Because he did that last time he came back. He did the exact same move. He's very calculated. When it comes to LeBron,
he sees the Cavaliers roster and he's like, no. What shooting is there?
I don't know. Well, to me, it's like Bronny. I still think he's going to follow where Bronny goes. And I think if it's the Cavs, no one's going to take Bronny unless there's some sort of conversation. Like, I'm guessing second round, maybe third round. I think somebody just takes a flyer for the chance of LeBron James sweepstakes. But I'm just not confident he's a Laker. And I don't know if that breaks your heart, but I just don't. I think the Lakers got a dark road ahead of them.
But the point is, you're missing all this. You got to understand, you just talked about big markets, that the NBA will not allow, unlike David Stern's just sheer stupidity to not let Chris Paul go to the Lakers. They're not going to allow the Lakers to be average. So somehow Donovan Mitchell will go to the Lakers. Somehow Anthony Edwards will go to the Lakers. That's just what's going to be. So whether it's in 3 years for Anthony Edwards, they're not going to allow Anthony Edwards to play at Minnesota. It is what it is. He's going to play somewhere else. You could save this. May 19th, 1:24 Eastern. Anthony Edwards will be the face of the NBA on the Lakers.
You might make me sick. You're right. It's not the worst take in the world, because I don't ever know how much of it's just like the location of it too. It's like, if you're a great player, you can go to LA, everybody loves you. The Lakers, I mean, we give you crap all the time about how the Clippers have been able to beat up on the Lakers. Despite that, it's still the Lakers town. Like, it really is. Like, no, you're not going to run into a ton of Clipper fans out there. If you do, you still share the same arena, all because back in the day, I'm blanking. What's the worst NBA owner of all time? Sterling. Yeah. At one point, he's trying to have his own stadium. Last second, he's like, actually, can we move in with you guys? Like, the Clippers have always just kind of hurt themselves in that way to put them in the Lakers' shadow. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Edwards going to the Lakers, that just make me quite utterly sick to my stomach. I don't know if I can handle that. I got to see. I mean, don't you think the Bulls, is that a team that, like, where do the Bulls sit for you in terms of big market, small market? Because they're still a big market, but the interest has just waned so much, because as a Bulls fan, I'll say it's been garbage. It's just been like, yeah, we're kind of okay. Maybe we sneak into the play-in. We sneak into the play-in every year now since it started. It was just kind of a treadmill. It looks like a worse version of the Cowboys, where it's like every year you're kind of competitive, but you never move up or down. It just stays there year after year after year.
I mean, what they need to do is somehow get Jordan back there. That's the first thing I would do. And somehow get him back there.
That'd be incredible. Zach LaVine, speaking of Lakers, we got to go to break here. Zach LaVine might be one of your Lakers too. He's a guy that's probably going to be on the move this summer. But with that being said, we'll throw it to our first break here. This is The Breeze. We got Haas, the host as always. No DP today, as he's taking a much-needed rest after we just got done calling the Pro Volleyball Federation playoffs. And again, Supernovas won the championship. So if you missed that, you can always go back on YouTube. But we'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a little bit.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEPCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEPCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Have you been accused of a crime? Is your freedom at stake? At Liberty Law Group, we are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Facing the court is stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. At Liberty Law Group, we believe in treating every person with respect, compassion, and understanding. When legal troubles are keeping you up, trust Liberty Law Group to fight your battles. To learn more, call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes. What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather with no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for after the spring game in late April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Join On the Block and Old School live from Scissors and Scotch on 30th and Yankee Hill on Thursday, June 6th to celebrate their grand opening. Feel better instantly with a beard trim, haircut, or a traditional shave courtesy of the experienced and professional barbers at Scissors and Scotch. Stick around after your cut and enjoy a beverage in their cozy bar area, and don't worry, there's more than just Scotch. Spend your afternoon with Scissors and Scotch at 93.7 The Ticket, live on location June 6th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Spring in Nebraska brings green grass and warmer weather, but it also brings severe storms which can cause damage to your home. Meadowlark Exterior specializes in hail, storm, and wind damage restoration, as well as roofing, siding, and gutters for commercial or residential buildings. Meadowlark Exteriors focuses on fine craftsmanship and proves that in their attention to detail. They offer free roof inspections and estimates and insurance claim assistance, serving the Lincoln and Omaha surrounding areas. Call today at 402-875-2956 or go to meadowlarkexteriors.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. If you guys want to join in, you can do so through the Sartor Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. A quick note for all you out there listening, we are streaming only. We got Royals on the airwaves. I started about 3 minutes ago, so Royals on the airwaves, but we're still streaming for everybody who wants to put a face to the voice. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and bring him back in here. We got Haas Tabrizi, the host as always. No DP today. We got done talking some NBA. The Mavericks move on. We got the game 7 tonight for the Timberwolves and Nuggets. But Haas, your show. Where do you want to go with it?
Well, there's a game 7 going on in about 2 hours, and
that's right. Knicks Pacers.
The Knicks are missing a starting lineup pretty much. They have their best player, but they're missing a starting lineup. So Bogdanovich, maybe Hart, missing Randall, maybe Anobi, and then the Robinson. So Mitchell Robinson. So that's 5 really strong players that they're missing, and potentially, and they could still win because it's a home game. And we talked about the refs and the money, and they're not going to allow the Knicks to lose at home.
Not to the Pacers. I'll say that much. Pacers. I like the Pacers, but I don't. That's a team that's so fun to watch, but that's what I've been saying all the time. Like, if you actually watch the Pacers, you're not surprised by this. You were like, okay, they actually figured something out with the Pascal Siakam, a sneaky trade that nobody realized how good it was for them. You look at how Tyrese Halliburton runs that offense to just go, 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 go. You watch how the defense is kind of weird, but it funnels everything into Miles Turner so they can just go out and run, really just feeding everything towards the rim as opposed to the 3, which is different. And you thought that would get like kind of halted in the playoffs because that's when the defense really starts to kick in. Good luck on your fast-paced games. But they've been really impressive. Like, I've been utterly impressed. It's been, a lot of it's been Pascal Siakam. Like, I was big on Tyrese Halliburton, but this version of Pascal Siakam is kind of like what people thought was going to continue after the Toronto Raptors. Like, he tried to be the man there for a little bit, didn't quite work out, and now on this Pacers team, I think he just matches up so well with that team. A guy like Miles Turner as well. I think the Pacers, I'm not going to pick them to win, but there's a good chance. I mean, you talked about it. Yeah, Josh Hart, the abdomen pain is so weird how that one happened too. You kind of went up for a rebound, outstretched it, but he's day-to-day. So I'm guessing he's probably going to be out there. I'll give him some painkillers. Who knows? Just something. But yeah, OG Anunoby out. Robinson out. Bogdanovich out. Randall obviously out. Washington Jr. out. It's just, I think it's going to be the Knicks still, which is crazy to say. But that's only because of the previous conversation. If I'm picking this team on paper, on skill set, it should be the Pacers.
Should be, but it's going to be the Knicks. The Knicks do have the best player, though. So with Brunson there, Hartenstein is doing a really good job on the offensive glass. 10 offensive rebounds in a game. That's just ridiculous. It's a master class on offensive rebounds. And so I imagine Hart will just pull through and play with a lot of heart. And if Anobi can come back, then that's kind of a split with Siakam. So it should be a good game. It should be a good game, but I'm definitely looking forward to the 8 o'clock Eastern game, which is Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan's son, against the horse loving Jokic.
That's just he's one of my favorite personalities just for that simple reason. Because there was a skit, like when he talks about horses, it's just he'll just casually throw out like, "Oh, do you own a couple?" He's like, "No, 20, 30." Like, just has, this guy really does have thought of horse. He cares about it a lot. But just such an entertaining guy. And I don't buy that he doesn't like basketball. I think people just say that as a result of him not being. I mean, obviously he loves basketball. He's pretty damn good at it. But looking at this game, I want to go with the Denver Nuggets, but this playoff has been, in particular this series, I mean, it's been here's 20-point loss. Okay, we'll take the next 20-point loss. It hasn't made any sense. This series has made the least amount of sense. And really since last year, since the Miami Heat took down the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee ends up firing Budenholzer, who's now coaching the Phoenix Suns because they got swept this year. But, I mean, this is a bizarre series. I don't feel good about it at all, no matter who I pick here. I like the Denver Nuggets just because I feel like they're the more experienced team. We've seen Jamal Murray in big moments. We've seen Jokic in big moments. They typically play big. And Aaron Gordon has been really on fire too. But last game, he got shut out. So, like, when it comes to this, I'm going to roll with the Nuggets for experience, but I don't feel good about it at all.
So last week, Austin and I were talking about which team has the better team. And I was trying to explain that Denver is a very loaded team. Their starting five is by far the best starting five in the NBA. And people need to realize that. I'm sure that they'll say the Celtics are, but it's not close. And with that, it's like, well, Jamal Murray hasn't made any all-star teams or all NBA teams, and Aaron Gordon hasn't made any all-star teams. And it's like, okay, hold on. Let's pause for a minute. Let's look at all the guards in the NBA. And we can do that real quick too if you want. To put you on the spot. Let's look at all the guards in the NBA. And if we were to draft the guards in the NBA for the next 3 years, Jamal Murray would be in the top 6. There's no question that Jamal Murray would be in the top 6. So he should be all NBA. For why he's not getting it, I don't know. I don't care.
He's an interesting case. Now, Jamal Murray is, you're wrong and you're right all at the same time. His regular season stats would say this guy is not an all NBA guy. He's a fringe 6-man on a really good team. Like, he's a fringe starter. That's what makes him so unique in the playoffs is he is, on quote, the best playoff riser. When you look at his stats in the regular season, and then you look at his stats in the playoffs, it's such a jump. And it's not because it's a one-off thing. It's consistent. Every time he hits the playoffs, he is that guy. Now, because
playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Now, the regular season award, he doesn't get it. But playoffs, I'm taking him because I agree with you. He can be that guy. But in the regular season, why? You don't need to. You just talked about how good that team is. You can play through everybody else. You can just kind of take your shots when you need them. When the playoffs come, he evolves into this different level of player. But yeah, so like I'm with you, but I'm not. I agree with people when they don't give him an all NBA team because his regular season numbers really don't back it up.
Whatever. If I'm building a team, he's definitely one of the guards I'm picking.
All right. Who's your first guard you're going to take though?
That's for 3 years. For 3 years, I can't disrespect him. I got to take Steph.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't leave him out of there because he's still. I'm thinking he's a 3-point shooter too, so you're not really worried about some of the other things like LeBron James, and he's gonna be fine. Steph Curry's probably still one.
Like people think Trae Young is good, and Trae Young plays worse defense than Steph, and turns the ball over more than Steph, and doesn't shoot as well as Steph. So shooting is the number one skill in the NBA. It's Steph.
Mm-hmm.
Who should go second?
Oh man, we're just talking about disappointing guard. I'd love to say Damian Lillard, but he's been he's one. We talked about Jamal Murray being a playoff riser. As much as I love the guy, Damian Lillard playoff faller, and it's not even close. Anthony Edwards seems to Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum. Devin Booker's still pretty good. It's hard to feel about that one. This is
so the
tough.
question was, do we count Luka as a guard? So that happened last week. SGA is there. Brunson has to be mentioned.
Is Luka? You're counting Luka as a guard?
Yeah, so Luka is a guard.
Luka, absolutely. I'm
Luka,
taking
SGA, Brunson.
I take SGA over Brunson as much as it kills me. I just still think SGA doesn't get enough credit.
Then from there, it becomes John Morant. Is it John Morant? Is it Jamal Murray? Is it Damian Lillard? Is it Brunson? So that's when things happen. And Lillard's going to have better stats, but At what point do we say he's not a playoff player?
He's just not. He's not. He's not. He never shows up. I love the guy and I love watching him play.
I want him on the Lakers. But
yeah, outside of that one series where he swept the Thunder and there was some beef between Paul George and Russell Westbrook and the Portland Trailblazers, he showed up for that one. I think that was the same year they managed to get to the Western Conference Finals with the Trailblazers. But after that, the whole thing, like, he's consistently never gotten blamed for how bad his defense is. And part of that's the Trailblazers not setting him up well with a guard that can kind of cover up some of those defensive deficiencies. They never did. And now with the Bucks, it's kind of like, man, if you're not going to play defense, you got to be able to score. And he just disappears all the time. I mean, he's got to be one of the biggest playoff followers we've seen in a long time. Trying to think about who else I'd go. I mean, when
Donovan
it comes
Mitchell,
to yeah,
Donovan Mitchell's there, the next Lakers guard, and then I mean Westbrook gone, Chris Paul gone. Chris Paul was 2 years ago, so
yeah.
Darren Fox is there.
Oh, that's the one that I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. The shooting's gotten surprisingly better for him.
Kyrie.
Yeah. Kyrie Irving's still nice.
You got to give him the respect that he hasn't been getting for like 3 years now, the way he's playing. So I understand why Jamal Murray isn't there, but playoff Jamal Murray is right below Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is Steph Curry should be a 2-3 time MVP in the playoffs. He's got it once and he has 4 championships. So 1 ring for Jamal Murray. They are not in the same conversation at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who's next as a guard. Luka's made it to a couple Western Conference Finals. What other guard is taking over? It hasn't been guards. It's been Giannis. It's been Durant. It's been LeBron.
You bring up a good point. It's outside of the new guys we're seeing on the block, Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson. It's really been a handing off of the torch to been the elite wing players / center. If you can be one of those, and even Jokic is in some very small waters with guys like AD, Joel Embiid, Jokic, and Jokic is still better than anything we've seen in terms of just overall.
Butler.
Yeah,
So
more
it's
wing
been
players.
a wing dominated game. So
that next
Curry has to be one.
Yeah,
I'll still build my team around him.
I think
I'll
I
trade
would too.
whatever for him for the Lakers. Get Curry. To put Curry on the Lakers. Are they not the favorite to win the ring?
No, I don't think so. It depends what you have around him. I mean, you talking about LeBron, AD, and Curry?
Yes.
Those 3 stay together.
Yeah, you
that's
trade
not gonna
Reeves, Russell, and Hachimura for Curry.
And how many picks? How many picks you got to trade? There's no way.
Not my problem.
Well, that's never happening. They're like the Warriors. It'd be crazy. It'd be
Not my problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably pick that team. I still don't know if I'd pick them over the Nuggets just because Jokic and the Lakers, just for some reason, that team they got the Lakers number bad, and I think part of that's just bad roster construction along with AD. Despite what he does, it just doesn't ever seem to matter. Like, he can play a great defensive game. Rudy Gobert, he can play good on offensive numbers, but it's just so hard to slow down Jokic.
Hold up. Can they go change the MVP award, the Defensive Player of the Year award? Like, Gobert is not guarding Jokic anywhere as close as AD is.
Yeah.
AD guarded him pretty well.
I agree.
Karl Anthony Towns is guarding him better than this croissant eating whatever.
COVID denying.
What?
I said COVID denying French baguette eating. No, just kidding. But yeah, with Rudy Gobert, I don't know. When AD, I actually, for the first time in a long time, I felt bad for AD because he was like, man, I really talked about how he should have gotten the Defensive Player of the Year award. I actually agreed with him.
Top 3?
Top 3. This wasn't even because it was Victor was the third one slotted in there. But I thought he should have been a nominee. And then people were just clowning on the guy because he couldn't guard Jokic. I'm like, find me one center that's been able to do it for 4 quarters. No one, especially in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, like, Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, not a fan. I think I'd honestly rather give it to even Victor Wembanyama over a Rudy Gobert or even an AD. The only thing that keeps me back from Victor Wembanyama is I do think Defensive Player of the Year especially at that center position, it's got to be indicative of the whole team's defense because you're kind of the center of that defense. You got to be calling everything out for the whole team because you got the best point of view. So that's the only part with Victor where I'd shy away. But certainly, Rudy Gobert, I would take AD over Rudy Gobert. I'm with you there. I thought that was a joke when people are clowning on him for not guarding Jokic because I'm like, clearly you haven't watched the regular season at all because this is nothing new for anybody. Where would you put Victor then? Victor Wembanyama, because I actually think I still might even put him over Rudy Gobert. The block numbers are insane.
100%. 100%.
You're with me on that one.
Yeah, no, I would go Wemby 182 for defense.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, we're agreeing a lot more than I thought we would on this stuff.
Hey, let's go for 5 more minutes and skip the commercial. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. Where do you want to go with it?
So, all right. So now we talk about the guards like that, and we talk. Does Dallas have a chance against either Minnesota or Denver?
No. I'm going to say flat out no. I think, sorry. This game, even before it started, I was looking at, because I wasn't a big fan of the Suns, but I thought they'd be able to get one. The Timberwolves sweep the Suns. I was like, oh my God, okay, those guys are really good. And then the Lakers, I thought the Lakers were the second best team in the Western Conference last year. I still don't think that's a horrible team. I was clowning on them because you're on the show with me, but I don't think the Lakers are an awful team, and they beat them pretty convincingly. So I thought pretty early, this 3-2 series, that's going to be the team in the West. And then on the East, you better hope it's Boston, because if it's not Boston, the West is definitely going to win the finals this year. I mean, where are you at with all that?
So I'm trying to look up Dallas's record against both teams. Who's guarding Luka? The KCP, maybe. I would go Porter. No, it has to be KCP.
No, you're not going to put it. It's probably KCP.
KCP is good, but he can't guard Luka. Then who's guarding Kyrie?
Oh, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I
mean,
mean,
Lively is energetic enough, and so what's the dude's name? 21 with a G. He could. They're athletic enough to make it hard on Jokic. So that's actually not that bad of a matchup for Dallas.
No, it's not a bad matchup. I'm still going to trust with fate, though. The problem about these series, and which is entertaining, is like the one weak spot of the Nuggets is actually kind of that. I want to say it's like not bad guard play, but it's elite ball handling. Like they almost need a Kyrie Irving's ball handling in certain moments, because that is one thing that the Nuggets really figured out, and how they got back into the winning seat was because, do you remember in like games 1 and 2 where the Timberwolves were just harassing Jamal Murray and he just couldn't do anything? He just looked frustrated and they were just getting destroyed. Then they were like, okay, let's have Aaron Gordon bring up the ball. Let's just stop having, and then we'll just basically have everybody but the guards bring up the ball to just let our offensive flow kind of start up. So it's just going to be a chess match. Like a lot of this stuff is just entertaining because they figure out so much of it. Who's bringing the ball up to set up this offense? Because it completely eliminated the Timberwolves' ability to pressure. But then in game 3, just really didn't matter. I mean, the Timberwolves were just playing at such an elite level. So the matchup wise, I think you probably put Jamal Murray on Luka because he's got some muscle and size at least. Who else you can, or you can put, because you put Jamal on Kyrie. Who do you think's got? Who do you match that up? How would Haas Tabrizi put this matchup together? Because I'm going to go through the starting 5 here and see what I would like.
I mean, first of all, Minnesota's winning tonight.
I wish you didn't tell me the Scott Foster story earlier, because otherwise I would have been like, wait, who's repping? This is very
who is repping tonight?
Yeah. Oh man, if it's Scott Foster, I am gonna have to resend the Jokic Nuggets jersey, because that is gonna make
Scott Foster, David Guthrie, Curtis Blair.
Nuggets boycott. Don't even show up. Boycott.
No, he might hook up the Nuggets.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they're gonna Anthony Edwards. Come on, that guy is. I think if you're Adam Silver, who's just way too player friendly, by the way. He's a big part of why the league's gotten to where it is. I liked him at first, and now it's like, okay, too player friendly. Things are just running amok and they're chaos all the time. But I mean, wouldn't you think Adam Silver, if this is real, which if Scott Foster's, of course he's on this game, feels like it is, wouldn't you think they'd much rather have the Denver Nuggets, or excuse me, the Minnesota Timberwolves because of Anthony Edwards and the hype he's creating? Because Jokic, again, for how good he is, people are still just kind of waking up, seeing it for the first time. Like, oh man, this guy really is an MVP. He's incredible. Where's he from? And he's just been doing it forever. And people are just waking up to it. So to me, if I'm Adam Silver and I'm playing in a dirty way, it's probably Anthony Edwards.
All right, let's see what the internet says. Scott Foster leading the officiating crew for Wolves T-Wolves Game 7 tonight. Both teams are now doomed to lose for the respective fan bases.
That's a great article.
Game 7, Scott Foster. Historical performance incoming. Never good when you know who the referee is.
He might go down as one of the most infamous referees in sports history.
The title of the article: NBA assigns infamous referee as crew chief for Timberwolves Nuggets Game 7.
There you go. They just used the infamous title right there for it. Oh my Lord.
On that note, who do you got? You got Nuggets. I got T-Wolves. Can't wait to see the matchup.
I think on paper it's Nuggets. I think Scott Foster. I think it's probably the Minnesota Timberwolves. We've talked about it before. The guy who looks like Michael Jordan, Anthony Edwards, that is going to definitely be the problem. And with Karl-Anthony Towns, he probably feels like he's going to shoot 50% from three. This is tough. That's tough that Scott Foster, of course he's calling. I don't know why I'd expect differently. I mean, we got to wrap it up here, Hostas. We're running out of time. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves. I got the Nuggets. And that's going to do it for us. Beware, Scott Foster is officiating that one. So who knows? Maybe he takes some extra notes on how closely that game's officiated. But we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys all from joining in on the stream. Again, we got Royals on the FM airwaves, but we'll keep these shows going on these streams here. So appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you again in a little bit.